So yeah, they do Renekton, puts him in a little awkward spot. Gragas. Let's see, so Rise party this time. Don't have to force making ganks on mid. Which is important to note because they didn't have to force ganks on mid with the Tristana, and they did not have to force ganks making with the Lissandra. So both games that really excelled for them was when Faker did not have to get attention from Clid. Or like attention from Clid to enable the lane to actually work out for them. Don't have to force making ganks on mid like the first two games. Better game plan. Faker to eat attention. Get a actual jungler this time in Ragus, plus take away from Xerxes, and grab hard counter top. So hard counter top, Lucian in the game playing. Game 2 they played how am I already forgetting what they played, Tom? Game 2. I know Splice didn't run it back. I know Splice didn't play Gangplank themselves. I know that. They didn't get it twice. They played Poppy into... Oh god. Fiora. Fiora into Poppy. So, SKT didn't even opt for a hard counter. They just expected Splice to counter themselves in top lane with the Fiora. And once again, they take another big counter in top lane. So they're following the same game plan they had in the other two games compared to the last game. Then they ban the Splice goes with Talia, which means now they're trying to play towards SKT's strengths. And so the last game, Ornn, great job at absorbing pressure, and the lanes were better set up for Splice, in which even though Splice was putting pressure on mid, SKT were trying to equalize it a little bit, and it wasn't really netting them anything. And they also got outscaled. So SKT couldn't just depend on the small advantages to help them proceed into mid game successfully, unlike games 1 and 2. We get into this game, and now they have stuff that outscales. Nectin doesn't outscale, but he is a problem for Quinn. Kaisa outscales most 80 picks, but she is exposed in the early game to better all-in picks. Talia does not outscale Gragas. Yeah, no, she doesn't really outscale Gragas. Gragas is much easier to execute than Talia. But now they're going to try to fight off the counter picks on top. So they ban Ezreal, who... I mean, if you see Quinn, and you know what SKT did with Lucian, they didn't even put a shit ton of focus on the Lucian lane, right? Like, they got Lucian, they secured Lucian a lead with a dive, and then they let Lucian stabilize and be a bigger threat while in top. And he also so happened to just pick 2 kills up when he did the TP bot play to counter Splice. So the Quinn, like, you don't have to go... You don't have to ban Ezreal. I'd be more scared about them having the ability to actually control bot, like in the last game, because they countered Kaisa. So you would think you would ban, like, Draven and X. Like, Draven and some other pick that might be able to contest Kaisa, but they don't. So I think Splice misread what helped SKT do better in their first 2 games. What helped them enable the top lane pick in the first 2 games. I can even put that down, like Splice, ban Ezreal, Blitz, which seems like an error since they don't understand how important having bot priority, having a kill bot lane versus Kai'Sa was to draw pressure away to let Khan have independence in his lane after initial help early game. Now that's their fault. And SKT finished this shit off with Nautilus ban makes sense, Pike ban. So they just ban, like, SKT just ban 2 supports that Splice played already in the series. Take away Leona. So then that leaves Morgana, right? So it's like, are you just gonna play Morgana into this? Are you gonna play Morgana into Leo into Varus, and then basically make your lane completely like useless? No, they picked Thresh, and Thresh can kind of counter Leo a little bit, but like not that much. And you know, they also picked Syndra at the 4 pick. They didn't ban Syndra. They took Syndra at the 4 pick as a counter to Ryze. But yes, Syndra can set up the stun into Talia's stun. Same with on top side. So there is some worry for SKT in these 2 combinations of all-in picks, which means you have to be able to spot out Talia like when you're playing against the Olaf. So they have to have a similar game plan. Actually, no, not Olaf, the old Rek'Sai. So you have to have a similar early game plan to what the Rek'Sai was doing, except it's easier to know what Talia is doing because she's very bad at clearing in the beginning. And see, first off, can Ryze get pushed mid level 1? Yes, if he goes Corrupting Pot. Can Quinn get pushed level 1? Yup, very easily. And then he can continue that into 2 and 3. Which means that most likely SKT are going to path towards top side for Quinn. Especially that Talia on red side can start blue. She can technically do blue. She'll probably do like blue-red Krugs. Like that would be the easiest path for her to do. I'd land her on top side, and then she could contest Quinn with Renekton stun. And if you're Clit, you just have to defend it, right? Like you just have to protect it, and then you go back towards bot side, in which case most likely your dual lane got priority. Push the wave, bounce the wave, and then the wave's gonna return back outward, which is gonna build a wave, and then maybe they make a build dive. So let's do top to ensure Quinn doesn't die to Talia. Combo. Ryze. Will most likely push, bounce, and then build a wave. Possibly look for dive potential on that timing. With Theo's tankiness. I could also pull Theo into mid with Gragas for mid gank to blow humanoids. Flash. Need to grow pressure in mid, bot no matter what, to pull Xerxes towards them. Quinn can fall down a bit, since she will be able to sit inside much longer than Renekton in mid game to farm back into a strong, relevant state. Alright, so one thing to note is SKT every game. Do a 5 spread, level 1. Don't risk anything weird to happen. Can counter react easily. Oh, so. Also have good word placement based on where enemy jungler can gank early. So it looks like Gragas is going to path towards spot. So he's actually going to do something. Well, I mean, actually, maybe not, because right now he is just covering the spot. Wait. Okay. I was gonna say it makes no sense for him to do it that way, and the duo doesn't leash either because the duo wants to start in lane because they've already had 2 games in a row where the duo who started in lane had a lot more priority. And notice that. Also, Kabe is going cleanse, and SKT's duo has gone heal every single game. There's not a single game they haven't done it. Now this is interesting because first off, if Khan walked that way, he would have gone wrecked. Like he would have been dead. So they force side split on bot side, knowing that there's a kill lane, and they won't know until Vizichachi approaches from the brush. And he also took some damage, so it makes it even more obvious. And now they'll notice, yeah. Now they'll ping it and notice that the wards that SKT placed are geared again towards spotting out Talia on top side, because it's so important, because Talia can technically do, if she wanted to, she could do red Krugs into gank top, which is something that Canyon has done, and you just have to pay respects to it. So here she comes. She's only done blue. Gragas has done red. He looks for an early game bot himself, which was really stupid because, I mean, first off, like, okay, so he was planning to move out anyways, which makes this a little. This makes this a little weird, right? Because they must have known, because he's curious on where the hell Renekton is. And Renekton hasn't. Renekton basically gave up melees, which is very uncommon. Very, very uncommon. And Renekton would normally not leash this long on red. So I think he's reading the situation that Renekton already committed away, or Splice already committed towards his blue. So he's looking to do blue himself, and his dual lane can definitely get priority, but mid lane cannot get priority. So naturally, the first move you'd think is ganking mid, which he does. He looks for a mid, can't get it, and then naturally, and then he looks towards bot, but he's doing bot because he was a free up priority in bot. And yeah, SKT's duo doesn't have priority. I don't know why their duo doesn't have priority, honestly. I really don't get that. Actually, I really don't understand how the duo doesn't have more priority than this. I guess Kaisa Q and Thresh Flay adds enough AoE that they can actually stall out the wave until Leo hits level 3, and then her all-in becomes a lot more scary along with Teddy. So Klid's decision making was okay, and the gank bot was bad. And he wasted a bunch of time, and now Xerxes is gonna be able to just clean out and go back towards topside with 2 blues, whereas Klid has no blue. In fact, you might see Klid just. Okay, no, Klid's not gonna commit that much. Okay, I think Gromp's a mistake, unless we're saying that Gromp is easier to take in this situation. So he's actually clearing 4 camps on bot side with Scuttle. Level 3. Ooh. Okay, so they did this purely to set up mid. And Klid is looking towards defending mid initially. and then he gets surprised. So I definitely would be surprised myself as well, because naturally you would assume Xerxes was ahead towards top, especially because he wants to kind of relieve Renekton a little bit. And Vizicachi ends up not even facing because Xerxes shows. But they did successfully burn Faker's flash. Did he have the flash? Oh, he did. That was pretty smart. Unfortunately, Faker's flash means that he dodges all the Qs by Talia. Now Xerxes is not really that ahead, but he did successfully burn Faker's flash at least. Khan doesn't have... What the hell? How did Khan lose his ward? Oh, he didn't. He just... Dude, that's such a shit ward. Oh my god. That ward actually does... Like, that ward doesn't help him at all. And it looks... Yeah, he had to burn his flash. Luckily, Splice actually extended just a tad too far. And also Xerxes or Vizicachi. Oh, Vizicachi flashes for that. Oh shit. Xerxes has the flash. And this is just SKT gain a free lead. And then he sits here to help push this wave out. Bot takes their base after successfully pushing this wave in finally. Because they're with levels they're stronger than Splice, this duo. Leo goes towards mid. Places a deep pink into wards, so she does the job of Clid in this case. Was Clid looking for like an early movement towards bot? There's no way Talia would have been there. So I'm not sure why he did that. Clears out Krugs, and then he enters through because he's going for bot scuttle. So on secondary scuttles that appear on bot, Clid likes doing Krugs into scuttle through bot party. Okay, so Clid realizes Xerxes most likely started Clid's blue, tries to look mid, nothing, bot look, is overforced, losing Clid's flash. Xerxes makes his movement a bit obvious. No. Faker loses flash to surprise Xerxes gank from bot river. Khan stays top too long until he gets ganked again. His ward was placed in top red banana, which shows nothing. So it's a bad ward. So it's bad. But luckily, phase rush helps him get out. And now SKT convert this into Infernal. So he comes back. Bryce comes back. Push, push. Rise is backing for a tier. There's a built wave, and Quinn feels super safe because he knows Syndra is mid. And SKT instantly convert this into Dragon. And their duo was the first to base because they were able to push the wave in finally and took their base and just bought some light items. And then Clid, seeing Talia show top and taking his blue, then naturally moves into bot jungle to take away camps as well, so he's not just getting naturally behind. Or not naturally, but just getting pushed behind. And then what we see is this movement for blue by Humanoid. Also, actually, I'm kind of confused by this. So they're doing Infernal, and you know they're calling for dive top. Vecton has dominance. He can't just push the wave without just taking chip damage for free though. And Tilia's not level 6, so there's also Khan does a good job of pushing them off. So because they identify this, they get to they themselves make a return bot play only to get countered by Syndra TP. That was interesting. It was kind of weird. So you go from Faker or Splice pressure top dive with Humanoid movement. SKT react by pressuring bot dive. Bot dive only for when they commit Humanoid TPs to counter. Effort dies, but it buys time in top. Khan still lost creeps. I don't know. It's like it goes hand in hand, right? To the Tilia's 6 now. She got spotted by Quinn. Also, it's worth noting that Khan plays to his situation very well. Like pushes Tilia, pushes Xerxes off blue, keeps chipping Vizzy hard to make the dive worse. Like he actually plays super well. Figure's build is so fucking trash. Looks like he's going Roa, which means he's gonna be delayed by a lot, but it gives him more scaling. Also makes him tankier, which is pretty important. Like really important. So looks like he just used solar flare for nothing. SKT used the time to go towards bot, which that's nothing. Also, it's worth noting. Right, that was in this whole exchange too, right? SKT also get first Infernal, which benefits 4 to 5 of their players. Oh yeah, it's also worth noting Duo doesn't try to get initial shove or level 2, stalls wave front until they can fully push out for reset. Infernal's up in 240. That's going to be the main focus. You can make a play for Herald if you want to, but most likely you won't because you don't really want to cause a fight with dominance. They use mid party into movement into look for bot play. They know blue's still up, so it seems like in their eyes they kind of want to go for blue, and Leo could move now if she wants to for it too. It looks like they're not gonna do it. Lord Scaran tricked them a little bit. Just a little bit. They don't know where Tilia is. No idea where Tilia is. And they still commit to this play because North Scaran's kind of like playing up front. But it seems like they waited quite a bit. I guess no matter what in that situation, you know, they're throwing ultis at him and he doesn't really have a way out. Okay, so Faker starts moving, nothing. Faker goes back mid. They're on Blade. Blade is big, huge. Finally they make a mid play. It took them a while to make a mid play. They know North Scaran isn't available. They use Gragas Flash too, which is surprising because first off, it looks like Faker fucks up, right? Like Faker uses W to slow him. Faker doesn't believe he has time to use EW. And Clid does the auto for some odd reason, right? Like Clid does the auto instead of just into insta casket. And he even tries to throw the Q. Then we see reactive for Nectin TP. Also, Leo is not even the first one to move towards this play, which, I mean, kind of sucks a little bit. But she doesn't have movies, so she wouldn't get here anyways first. And Faker instantly gets pushed off, and what we end up seeing is, well, yeah, the burn dominance. Just sure he wants to not gonna be have an issue. It seems like they lost. Ooh. 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 Well played by Splice, but that is pretty scary. Like we see Faker head towards top. After they failed this play. Yeah, this dragon contest is pretty iffy. But Faker TP's in. They miss Varus ulti, which is really sad. Like he just randomly throws it out. I don't even know why. He just has to hold the. If he just holds that, it's such a huge fucking impacting CD in this fight, and you know you just continue nailing dragon until someone pulls in, and then you Verisalt, and then you commit to your fight. But the way they did it was obviously pretty poor. Like this all spawns from. Like SKT commit to a bot play that fails. Or that turns into a 1-for-1. Or Scarin stopwatch buys a lot of time. No idea if Xerxes was around or ready to counter them, so only committed after Norse stopwatches, realizing Xerxes isn't exactly here. So I don't know. I mean, the way I phrased that was like pretty fucking poor, right? But they commit this into movement into bot to try to burn a flash. So like right after Gragas gets back on the map, try to move mid jungle to bot and use solar flare to burn a flash. Failed. Up to gank mid. Burns 1 flash for 2 flashes, which is a fail. Late to start dragon. Splice. Distance themselves enough in the dragon to force SKT away. Force SKT, or to second infernal slash deny. Take infernal, deny SKT, second infernal. Like I like the idea, right? Like I like the idea of them trying to burn flashes before dragon comes up. I like that a lot. This was a little iffy on them committing, and doesn't really agree with what they were doing before. It doesn't really make sense on how they played dragons the game before. Because one infernal, giving up 1 infernal to get more gold on the map is perfectly fine. But triple infernals is like pretty fucking nuts, right? Triple infernals is huge. Right now, I mean, obviously Rise outscales Syndra, right? Like Rise outscales Syndra. Quinn kind of outscales Renekton. That's only because Renekton has a huge pain in the ass of trying to get on top of Quinn later on. Varus Leo, of course, Kai'Sa outscales Varus, but Varus gets pretty tanky, and the damage by Splice is going to be pretty magic heavy unless Renekton gets on top of Varus. So Varus himself will be able to deal quite a bit of damage along with Rise. So you're going to have 2 kind of like good sustained DPS who are much tankier than the Syndra and the Kai'Sa. And Gragas and Leo do quite a bit more than Talia Thresh. So they have way more utility options and can deal with the burst damage of Kai'Sa, Talia, Syndra with their carries. So it's advantageous to SKT even in even game state. Whereas for Splice, they want to get their 2 core carries ahead enough in which the defensive itemization doesn't really matter as much. So right now, Kai'Sa is in a good spot, and Syndra has a minor lead, which is not bad, but it's not great. So she comes back with Ludens, and that's a pretty big deal. That's going to help her push the wave a lot better, and it's going to give her a bit more burst damage, so Faker would have to pay attention to that. But luckily, SKT are swapping just in time, especially because Renekton is bot lane. You know, Splice initiate this trade. They're dual lane bases, and once Renekton shows here, yeah, you send your duo mid, and Syndra does not want to be mid. So Splice are actually, so Splice are not going to handicap their mid laner. Whereas Rise can kind of deal with the wave as long as he has Gragas near him to support him. This is a perfectly fine situation for them. So Splice starts the Herald. Visit Chachi roamed all the way from bot to top. That's because he had to push first, and SKT were... Actually, wait. No, yeah. SKT were late to do their swaps, right? We go to here. Yeah, so they took it, and then SKT back off. These two push out bot, and then Varus just has the base with him, right? Yeah. But Varus stays. So if Varus actually just took his base and then Quinn went bot lane, they would have been fine. Especially because there's no Infernal, right? The play is for Herald. So you want to send Quinn towards bot. But SKT kind of misread the situation, or their situation, which should have been more geared towards... no, they clearly just misread it, right? Like 1430. SKT misread the situation. I mean, Herald is last neutral up right now. Duo should have based sooner. Plus, Quinn should have been bought already. So like that's just a fucking macro mistake, right? Like that's just a clear macro map mistake, not paying attention to what's happening. So now Quinn's getting the DPS the tower, and that's because Vizicsacsi roamed all the way top to take the Herald. So he got some tower damage, and Splice is using Herald post 14 minutes, so you don't net plates. It's purely for a tower take, which means they don't have confidence in themselves in taking the tower necessarily. Talia's here. Talia had the option to just use the wall and just burn Quinn's flash if she wanted to. Only downside, oh no, Ryze doesn't have TP, so that's not that bad. Syndra's pushing out top. You know SKT just went into your top river and cleaned out those wards. So you know SKT are all top side, which makes this play even more doable and more scary for Khan. And the fact that Khan is just chilling here is like kind of a fucking joke in a way, right? Like with 1540, Khan still split pushing when his team quite clearly showed in top river to clean Splice's vision for Herald. Should have at least lost his flash to Xerxes. Yeah. That's a Khan mistake if I ever saw one, man. Oh my god, Khan, you were actually such a fucking idiot, man. Like, he completely exposed himself in this situation. I mean, this... and then, I don't know what the fuck this shit is, right? Like, so, they push in bot wave with Xerxes, and then they just kind of forget about SKT, right? Like, where's Varus? Okay, so clearly you see Varus and Gragas are by the ping. You know, he's sitting on Bork. He actually... I mean, Varus is like, decently strong. He's not, like, insanely strong. Kaisa has her Q upgrade, which is great. Like, she does pretty good fucking damage right now. And Syndra's here too, so you feel confident contesting this ward. But they completely, like, they don't fucking realize that effort is wrapping behind them. Like, it's just not computing to them. And also, it's worse that Thresh is the one who's approaching this, right? Like, Thresh is supposed to be your lantern dude. Like, he's supposed to be a little bit further back so you can actually contest this vision without necessarily being in danger. But North Scarin kind of forgets what his role is, and he's also looking for a hook here, right? Like, he's looking for a hook on Gragas, and let's say he hits Gragas. Okay, Renekton moves in, you all in Gragas, and now it's a fight. You know no one's here, which is good, but you don't know where anyone is past that. And then Teddy shows up, and now suddenly, because you went for this one hook, you're fucked. Like, you're just in a terrible spot, and you don't have flash. So, you know, North Scarin gets really punished. Vizichachi tries to go straight in, and unfortunately for him, Effort instantly stuns him. Like, he lands the Q stun, he gets the R stun, and Vizichachi's just dead. And then Varus flashes, that's another kill. Quinn could go finish the bot tower. Infernal's up in a minute 10. Quinn's gonna push this down. He's gonna base. He's gonna. Oh shit. Never mind. I was gonna say he was gonna push this in and then go towards top, but it seems Rise is gonna be able to push that out and rotate into Dragon right after, because SKT are gonna put a lot more focus on Dragon this game. Way more focus on Dragon. Splice in response plus summon Herald so they can take mid tower, but mid tower doesn't really matter in the context of this next fight. It will matter a little bit later for Baron, but for right now it doesn't really matter. So Vizichachi ends up this game completely nailed right off the bat, due to Quinn damage. And you know, Xerxes here again. You know, like, to see everybody showing mid. There's 4 people showing mid, so you could commit to Leah wall play on Quinn again. And if he did it earlier, he would have had no flash, and in this case, he most likely would have been dead. But since they didn't do that, and he does have flash, they can't go too hard because then they're going to be caught out. And not only would they be caught out, let's say they run away successfully, right? Like they back off. You would have used Talia wall, and the only thing you would have burned is Quinn's flash, which doesn't honestly really matter that much. When you revisit the Quinn lane, it does matter, but in terms of fights, it's not really going to stop Quinn from doing Quinn things. So they back off. They don't want to commit to it, and then because they don't commit to it, Khan just kind of walks in and just completely wrecks Vizichachi. And then Xerxes, you know, again, Xerxes can't actually go too far. And the damage he does doesn't matter because it's for Quinn. So for Quinn just gets his HP back. And now SKT just clean out the dragon instantly because they had because of Khan's chip damage. Purely because of Khan's chip damage. But it's worth noting that they shouldn't have had in the first place. Actually, you know what? Khan's like pretty safe too. Khan's actually standing like right in front of his tower. So actually, like I changed my mind. He wasn't as in much danger in this case as I thought. And since Leo would be able to get there pretty quickly, yeah, no, it's not worth it. They can't do that. So it's just Khan punishing correctly. And SKT having a nice push top so Rise can be bid. And then they start it. Start. And then Splice wants to go in. They have the TP flank behind. That's because SKT rushed the dragon. And now there's their option to get out. Is a good stun. Leo goes in. Faker dies. Gragas dies. So... Ooh. So in the end... Okay, so there's a couple things to keep note here. First off, SKT pick up 3 kills from Splice contesting. Vision too far with a flashless Thresh who is in front. It's like whatever. SKT use initiative on the... Wait, can I not? Oh my god, Inish. Dude, why can I not spell this right now? Dude, I can't believe I can't spell initiative right now. Dude, what am I? Dude, am I fucking brain dead? Dude, am I an idiot? Why can I not spell this right now? Dude, dude, I can't spell it. I can't spell it. Oh my god. Why can I not remember how to spell this? Holy shit, I'm actually so fucking dumb. Anyways, SKT used tempo on the map. I'm just gonna say tempo on the map. Use tempo on the map. to get Faker movement from top push. Khan realizes Fizzy can't trade onto him without Xerxes committing wall. So he gets free chip damage to open up second Infernal for SKT. So they're really playing play off Khan's pressure ability to trade freely onto Renekton. Well, always draws Xerxes near him, so SKT can get themselves Infernal Drakes. We'll open up second Infernal for SKT. Also, only downside is SKT rush the dragon for the chance, miss clearing flank ward, which kills 2 of them. Was it 4? Oh, 4. Oh, Jesus, kills 4 of them. But here's the thing: Infernal Drake does actually. If Infernal Drake will outperform the 4 kills if it goes late enough. Right now, obviously, it does not. Like right now, it clearly does not outperform what happened, but it eventually will. Huh. So okay, so in this game state, 4 people die. Bot wave is already pushing out, so the most likely Splice will push bot wave back out, so someone on SKT has to collect it. Faker has TP, but you don't want to send Faker because Quinn wants to be free collecting the wave and then roaming very quickly without having to burn a TP into the team, so Quinn's going to go back bot lane after dying. And Faker will go top. The wave is perfectly fine for Faker. Of course, Varus is going to go mid, and then once Quinn pushes out top lightly, he'll probably roam. Or, because Faker gets back on the map first, Faker will push out bot, and Quinn will just run straight top. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. And I'm pretty sure we already saw Ryze being on top side, which means that it definitely didn't happen. So Quinn is pushing out bot, as expected. Yeah, he's going to push out bot. After this wave, he's going to roam up with R very quickly. Goes the long way. So he's actually making sure he doesn't even get caught on rotation. They don't have mid tower to back themselves up with, but they use Quinn's movement to net themselves a kill on Humanoid. So again, it's like it's Khan's Quinn that's actually like doing a lot of fucking work. Like you look at 2030, Khan just roams straight top from bot with his push. Fizzy doesn't show, so SKT are wary of mid, but Humanoid is left open. Kill Humanoid. So I mean, again, it's this entire game plan seems to really revolve around Khan pressure and Faker absorbing pressure. So it's pretty interesting. Like their duo lane seems to be the what am I saying? Their duo lane's good, but they're the least important aspect towards SKT in a way. Right? Like them being good definitely helps, right? Like, you know, they're not really hard inting in lane. You know, they gain their priority when they need to. They're doing their dive plays when they need to. But it's not like effort is just like a fucking roaming monster or anything like that. It's not like you're necessarily seeing Teddy do insane plays to make the team like excel or anything. No, it's really just an effort on the team as a whole with, you know, kill lane and bot, help ensure Khan's lane is fine. Khan can absorb pressure. Khan can also exert pressure on the enemy top to draw jungle attention. Same with Faker. And then Clid uses that knowledge to make appropriate actions like invading for camps, taking Infernal Drakes, prepping a dive. Can't run from him too, which is really annoying. If you're an active player, you're just kind of like, yeah, I can't deal with this. And the fact that he went Black Cleaver, I think this is a huge thing, by the way. The fact that he went Black Cleaver and now he's building more armor means that his lane is done. Like he's already accepted full defeat, and he will never come back into that matchup. There's no way he'll ever be able to play against Quinn because he's building armor. So he's already committed towards the team fight for the team, and their team fight is not really better. Not really. Like with Renekton being this weak, they lack a severe amount of backline threat. And without the backline threat, he's just gonna get fucking ripped apart by Ryze and the Varus. So good luck, dude. Also, there's 2 items on Varus. Makes him he's gonna get tankier, right? Like he's going Wit's End next. So it's just gonna get worse and worse in terms of trying to kill SKT. You know, Ryze is on his 2 items with Roa like stacking. It's not looking good. For Splice, they need to have more agency in winning out this game. And I think an interesting thing also, let's check, did they secure Baron Vision first? Because SKT last time they had this situation, secured Baron Vision first, but this time they're just kind of securing Vision for Khan on the right side. So they're not even approaching the Baron side. They're really, actually, like, they're really scared on approaching Baron. Even with top push, like, deep, because no one's showing. So, okay, this is interesting. So, at like 22, 15, SKT are skipping Baron Vision because Splice are not showing anyone top. They're grouping hard mid, so SKT are just accepting the side wave pushes they get and paying attention to whoever will move from mid eventually, which is good. And it's a different approach. It's different from game 1 where they prepped Baron Vision into Dragon Attempt. Since this game, it is not worth the risk approaching Baron when they heavily outscale both in terms of comp plus current item builds. And so, you know, again, it's also worth noting, like, mid game playing towards Khan lane, but also because Splice are stacking often mid, making it hard to approach Baron soon naturally. The weakest. So they get Dragon, they have Mountain, they have 3 dragons. They're fine moving towards Elder. This time they're being very careful on approaching mid. Now they swapped Khan topside. Khan quickly just kind of harasses Renekton a bit. Norse scaring fucking base. Now Vizicachi has to base. Also noticed Vizicachi ended up going Mantle because it's just he has to because of the magic damage as well. So like his build, like again, his build is really fucked versus just building like fat HP with Shojin BC. And then depending on like just really depending on his huge HP pool to make him tanky enough while doing damage and his healing from Q. Like that's normally what Renekton would depend on, but he can't because he's so behind. Actually, this is really interesting. So, well, I shouldn't say really interesting, but Ryze can't do the same movements that Quinn can, right? So Quinn goes top, Quinn scouts, fights Renekton off. They approach, and then Quinn sees the bot wave, and then he just runs straight bot. Again, he's super fucking fast. And he's able to clear out Scuttle, clear out the bot wave, and then he's able to move again, which is going to force a 5v4 around Baron. And now this time, they should successfully be able to actually capture Baron vision if they want to with Quinn's movement. Whereas Splice try to force mid only for Norskeren to get punished. And this mid play is super desperate, right? Because they know Quinn's can approach you. So they want to make this play before anything bad happens and they separate it Teddy away from the rest of the team. So it seems decent, but when you actually look at their comp, it's purely based on Syndra and Thresh hitting their fucking skill shots, right? So he misses hook, and then they instantly punish him, and he doesn't flash this either, right? Like, he doesn't even flash this, so he dies. And now here comes Quinn, who has movement, and then they start Baron, and then, Quinn just comes over, kills him, and I mean, that's it. That's it. That's the game. And the way, how did SKT get to this point of the game? How did they outmaneuver Splice? It was through fucking Khan's Quinn. And Khan's Quinn being able to move around the map really fast. And also, it really helps that SKT outscale in mid-late game. So even if they are in a even state or not growing quickly, they know the time is on their side. Also, they have much better engage tools for punishing movement compared to Splice, who heavily depend on Talia Wall, Syndra E, and Thresh Hook. So, like, I don't know, man. Khan also should also say mid-game Quinn's fast ulti lets Khan move quickly towards the team while also pushing out the bot wave versus a free as fuck Renekton whose build path disables him from ever doing anything in any fight. SKT just have to wait for this moment. It can even sack Ryze farm for Quinn to move up and down to stall Splice mid. So like they have some very interesting options on fucking with them, and SKT's patience with con pressure eventually leads towards Splice trying to engage mid, fail, and get Baron. That's it. I want to see how patient they are on their Baron approach. They don't have that many pinks in the bot jungle. They at least understand there's some wards. There's a dragon up, and they clear some tier 2s, and they, oh god. Oh, I missed that completely. I didn't see them do that shit at all. I don't know why they forced so hard. That was kind of weird. Um, I was gonna say originally, like, it seems like SKT are pretty. I mean, the way SKT won every single game was the same, right? In the end, like it was SKT won with similar game plan. Same game plan. Figure has a pick that can absorb pressure. And when he can't, it enables their opponent to force reactionary plays by SKT, like game 4, where SKT force dive bot to humanoids movement top. Khan needs counter matchup, will draw attention as well, while SKT also puts resources into him in the first like 5 minutes of the game to get him going. Khan then tries to draw. Khan then will keep going even if it exposes him and causes him to die sometimes because he isn't paying attention. SKT also looked to grab kill bot lanes, good matchups, to then draw attention away from Khan post 5 minutes towards the bot lane to let Khan play his counter matchup independently. Khan is good enough to grow his advantage solo. Faker tries to scout information out, and the duo plays accordingly to jungler location. Clid will invade for camps often if he sees the opportunity. And the games SKT won were when they focused on stacking dragons and beam. Consistent on the timing spawns. General, SKT drafting good scaling into mid-late helps enable their good usage of growing small leads from invades, dives that deny waves to enemy champs, and their good side lane farming / vision consistency, consistent vision to grow their solos. Yeah. find opportunities for Baron while catching their opponents out. Yeah, they had a pretty good game plan. The game they lost, like the game they lost went against this game plan, especially the scaling portion where you can see SKT ban Ornn in game 4 in response to part of the issue, and also first picking eyes. Okay, not bad. Not bad.